Mr. Ken Compton himself. Brother Ken, welcome.
Thank you, Eddie. Good to see you. May I say, love your attire. I would have worn a Sigma shirt myself, but I chose to go with a Marvel theme. I don't know if anybody can see it or not, but yeah.
Make mine Marvel. Marvel is always a win. And to be how those accomplishments contribute to your career practically and probably more importantly, emotionally. How did they bolster you up to keep going?
Long before Graffiti Park was published in print, thanks to Rainbow Room Publishing, an early draft was actually published online. The work or the website was called Necrology Shorts. They actually published it, and I did send it to an actual magazine to have it print put in their publication as well. But what ended up happening, it did get rejected. But what inspired me is that the work was good enough to get feedback. A lot of times you don't get that when you submit.
Yeah.
You send it off, and
you lucky to hear anything.
Exactly.
You lucky to hear no.
And this particular editor, she said that she would love to feature my piece, but these were the things that she needed to be a little bit different. And she gave me a lot of different ideas, and I did incorporate those ideas in what became the finished piece. I did not resubmit to her, and I can't remember quite why. I just took what she told me, and I just internalized it. I was encouraged by the fact that she did take the time to give me that feedback. So I just, But the big publishing credit that I had prior to Rainbow Room Publishing and the anthology series was the Necrology Shorts website where the earlier draft had been published, and it wasn't nowhere near the way it looks now. So even an earlier draft that story was good enough to get in then, and so that's what gives me the encouragement to continue with the whole novel series.
Awesome. I mean, yeah, I'm loving this. I'm loving this conversation for a number of reasons, but I'm really just honestly stuck on the other writers that may already be working, the ones that are still thinking about it. And, you're painting a very real picture without it being oh so bleak. I know we both talked to people and heard from people about, I could wallpaper my apartment with all of the rejection letters or I have this manuscript that's somewhere in my mama's basement somewhere that I've never done anything with. You're giving everybody, in my opinion, just through the gift of your ability to tell a story, the very
of writing as far as me wanting to do it for my life. It all goes back to my last semester in undergrad. One of my last assignments was to write a chapter extension of a book that we read in philosophy and literature. It was called Bailey's Cafe by Mr. Taylor. And I wrote an extension to that novel, and I thought it was the best thing that I had done. In hindsight, this was some years ago, so the writing wasn't as good as it could be. But back then, I thought it was the greatest thing that I had ever done, almost academically. So, a lot of that, and I got an A on that project. So, with that being said, I thought, well, maybe if I put a little work into this, that's when the idea first sparked that maybe I could be a novelist myself. So.
That is beyond dope. I tell people, and I know I've said it in recent interviews, that one of the reasons too that I love doing these is that I always learn something new. And Mr. Compton has been busy. He has been.
Yeah, I have been kind of busy.
My goodness. So I'm gonna let you get into it. As previously stated, many of our viewers have come to know and love you for your various contributions to Rainbow Room Publishing. But since that time, you've been, like I said, very busy with your YouTube channel, Curious Story Content. Can you please tell us more about it? What inspired the idea to adapt some of your written works into this visual storytelling experience? This is dope, y'all. It's dope. Y'all go see some clips through the commercials. It's dope.
Well, what inspired it, I was getting to a point in my own writing where I wasn't doing it like I really wanted to. And I needed another outlet. So I just thought about, you see all these things, these people do things on YouTube. And I asked myself, well, if I could come up with like a niche, what would it be to put out there in the world? But the thing that I do is write. So what can also spark the enthusiasm and continue with me carrying the torch for myself, my own writing, why not take my own stories and adapt them into YouTube videos? So I did each story from the anthology series is included in the adaptations or in the, as a story on the platform. Speaking of the St. Louis Writers Guild, I've worked with many of those authors too, to bring their stories to adaptation. So it's just something that I can plan to continue with. Still a work in progress, still very new at it. There's still a lot that I'm learning, but the feedback that I'm getting has pretty much been positive. And although I don't have a million followers yet, but something that I'm
Yeah.
still working on. So yeah, I'm still in the very beginning stage.
So, what it is you're looking for in terms of content, as well as give us some of the nuts and bolts of the submission process for anybody that may be trying to get on board.
Well, right now I am looking for original content. I do look for that. But if your story has previously been in print, and there's no other adaptation of it, then I'll certainly consider that as well. But right now I'm after anything that I find to be entertaining. My own niches include like mystery type stuff, a few inspirational things, stories that have that gotcha moment. Not a whole lot of romance or any of that stuff, because I'm trying to thrill people, in a different type of way. So
High octane.
right, exactly. I don't know about too many comedies either, but the submission process, I think you have my email address, table of content 218 at gmail.com. Just take a look, send your story there. If it's something that I enjoy, chances are it's something that somebody else will enjoy too. And I'll be in contact with you to talk about the particulars of everything. Usually it takes about maybe 3 weeks, depending on how long, what else I have in the backlog to do, but not a very long process at all. And I tend to, as things are created, like as the thumbnail is created, just be yourself in your art. You know what I'm saying? You can have your inspirations, have your ideas and things of kind of what you want to do when you're emulating others, but don't forget about, it's important just to be who you are. Just first, they say you're supposed to write for this audience, write for that audience. First, write for yourself, and if it's something that you will enjoy, chances are I'm sure others will too. So just be yourself. Don't be afraid to say it this way versus saying it that way. You'll have editors that you disagree with. I have certainly encountered that. I'm not gonna get into that, but I have dealt with that quite a bit. So, but it's your art. It's your interpretation. Just be yourself. And if you have this thing in you that you feel is God given, then I have a belief that it will work out for you.